Welcome to the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society. Welcome to ITSP Magazine. Knowledge is power, now more than ever.
Can you see?
Is that you?
The question is, can you hear?
I can.
Do you not want to hear me? That's the real
I got my headset. Although I have my hat right there.
Hello. I know.
Live from where?
From not San Francisco. We were there all week.
I know.
We were there all week.
Good time. Good time.
A good, busy, successful, crazy week. Saw loads of people.
Crazy.
Crazy good.
Yeah, we saw each other after I don't even know how long. Well, we saw each other before San Francisco. We met.
We did.
For a coffee before that. But, let's put it this way. And just to let people know, this is one of our recap or catch up, something about what we did during the week. And of course, we have to talk about RSA conference because that's what we did last week. But it wasn't too crazy, right? It wasn't crazy busy. I don't know if it's because we've done it so long and we know how to handle it now, but it didn't feel pressure.
Well, that's the thing. And I don't know what the final numbers were, but there were a lot of people and a lot of sessions, a lot of expo floor, just a ton of stuff going on. But to your point, I was talking to a few people about this actually up there. It's like they asked me, are you burnt out and stressed out? I'm like, no. Because two things. One, we did a lot of our coverage beforehand. So all the interesting conversations and topics, we got to speak to a lot of the speakers before they spoke at RSA conference and discuss those topics. And the other thing is we really focused on what mattered most to us during the week. And plus we had our podcast network family helping us as well. So
and that's what really matters to us. It's the people that listen and the people that create content. And we got to see and hang out with a bunch of them. And what made things easy, I think you were getting there, was the fact that we had an headquarter in Broadcast Alley. And that was maybe one of the best place to be, at least for me, because yet you got moment that people go to listen to the keynotes, they go to the second floor that's in Moscone West, but it's also like a flow of people. It's not like being in the expo where it gets a little bit overwhelming, right? So it was changing, people walking by, say traffic, hi, 5 minutes.
Traffic, new people, but it's not a bunch of just like people hanging on top of you, which was refreshing.
Trying to sell this stuff.
I know there's that too. The other interesting thing is, and I don't know if my gray hair is a sign of the times, meaning that not as many people from my generation were there. I don't know, or I think a lot of my friends, because I've spent so many years at a vendor, doing vendor stuff. A lot of my friends are in the vendor space, and I didn't spend a lot of time in the expo floor, so I didn't see as many people that I thought I would have in previous years, where every 10 minutes it's, hey, well, I haven't seen you in since last year. And this time it was a few handfuls of really close friends that we crossed paths, or we made it a point to catch up with them. But just a ton of people, regardless. And even so when I did walk through the expo floor, I didn't see a lot of old faces either. So I don't know, there might be a whole new generation of people coming up to take the reins. There's certainly a lot of new companies coming up to take budget from CISO.
You said that thing at the beginning, like maybe it's a sign of the age. Maybe there is people are like, I'm too old for this. That
about that time.
Like there is an excitement, and I know you've been doing RSA conference for a very, very long time. For me, it was what the ninth time. I even got the the
I
pass
know.
with
I'm gonna have to
the
talk to somebody
with
about that. 20 years I've been going, and I don't have a loyalty plus yet, so we have to
and
figure
I
that out.
did. So I mean, that was really like really weird. But I mean, even 9 years is something. So,
Yeah.
but the point is that I think it missed that excitement of being the first time to be there. I remember my first time. I was overwhelmed, like just walking around the expo, running from a keynote to another, and now I think people, especially the people that've been there before, they make a plan. They said, this is what is important to me. These are the people
Yeah.
that I want to see. These are the places and the keynotes or the speaker that I want to hear. And then you're just trying to don't get overwhelmed. I mean, for me, I got the time thanks to RSA conference for working out the weather. I mean, 5 straight days of
Right.
sunny in San Francisco. I don't think I remember ever anything
I
like
certainly
that.
don't remember that. That was gorgeous out too.
Beautiful, beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful weather. People were hanging outside in the back there in the garden and on the terraces, and so it's a different feeling compared with when you're like cramped inside. But with that in mind, I took my time. I went to walk around. I drove around. I went on the down at the pier. Again, I wasn't bouncing around like a crazy person running from one thing to another. So I came back happy to be there and in a way already refreshed. How long did it take you to drive back? Tell me that. Because we didn't
Yeah,
drive together. People should
we
know
didn't
this.
drive
I
together,
think they know.
so it was longer up and back than I expected. So normally when we would drive together, we could kind of blast it in 6.5, 7 hours, something like that. Took me more than 8 to get up
Wow.
this time, and more than 12 to get back. So I was exhausted from the drive. Beautiful drive. And I got some nice shots of nice photos of some mountains and cacti and Joshua trees and some California poppies. So I mean, it was pretty cool. And I ended up going through the opposite side in through. Um, I don't know what is it, Marin County? I don't know, the other side of the bay,
Mm-hmm.
which is an interesting drive in as well. So it was cool. But I mean, I probably walked. I didn't want to drive anymore, so I took the ferry in when I could into the city from where I was staying,
Which is
and
a
I
lot
got
of fun.
that was a lot of fun, and I got to see Alcatraz and the Golden Gate Bridge, and I walked from one end of the Embarcadero pretty much to the other. And when I got to the other end, that's where the baseball stadium. That's probably beyond the Embarcadero. But anyway, I went to the baseball stadium, and there was a game on, and I got to go in like this underground place right at its field level. So I got to like hang out and watch a good part of the game at field level, right at first base, first
And I know you
baseline.
took
So
some picture, which is
yeah,
something that I
yeah,
want to invite people, because I think a lot of people go to RSA conference. Again, it's a business, but it's also
mm,
the people that go there. I think they go because they want to re-network, see old friends, as you mentioned, and spend some time having a dinner or do something in San
yeah,
Francisco. So we documented all of that with a lot of pictures. We have a gallery. There's going to be some random one. It's not all like professional. Like, of course, we took the picture of the people on Broadcast Alley that did the panels with the host, which we will mention in a short amount of time. And so, you can see that. You can see few things that happen within the Moscone and RSA conference, but we documented few excursion that we have, a few
yeah.
sunset. I'm sure there's a few cows on the road, and and the typical
There's a,
stupid things that we do to make it fun.
that's right.
But
And
let's be serious for a
I
moment.
got the sunrise too. I was up at sunrise a few days, which was pretty
Yeah,
cool.
well, you're there. You may as well take advantage of everything you
Exactly.
can. Let's get serious for a second for a change. I know that you've done a ton of briefing, and I was some of them as myself. although I was working more like behind the scene this year, taking backstage pictures and films and recording stuff. But I know one of the questions that you ask all the time was, stronger together. That's the theme of RSA conference, was the theme of RSA conference this year. And one of the question is, what's the buzzword? What's the thing that you're going to walk away with from this RSA conference? And I know we talked to our friend like Chris Pearson, with Kunal, and a bunch of other people. I'm going to ask you. I'm the host right now, and you're my guest. So, what did you get out? What did you bring back home in this 8 hours driving back? What do you think about, like, okay, this was a good reason to be there, or maybe
Well, I
not?
think,
I don't know.
well, no, I'm trying to think of where to go with it. I mean, a few of the conversations definitely spoke to, these are their story briefings that we did. A few of them spoke to the community and being stronger together and partnerships. And one of them in particular was all about demonstrating trust with each other. So not just being together, but actually working together in a trustworthy manner. Um, I think I don't know. I hate to point anyone out, but I mean, Canal is always an incredible mind twister conversation where we started off with music production and ended up in AI in the SOC. Um, yeah, so I think a ton of conversations that I think they're all unique in their own way. So together, I think they're really good and they tell a pretty good story. I think the two themes that come out of most everything that I heard, briefings and otherwise, was risk management is really taking a front seat in things now, and of course the technology bit that we couldn't escape, and I use those words deliberately. We couldn't escape AI. it was everywhere. Um, I don't know. I think some
Everything
of the
powered by AI.
everything is powered by AI. Everything uses it, protects against it, is it. I don't know. It it's going to be some interesting times. I think well, I don't know. What was it today? The godfather of AI from Google is
Mm-hmm.
stepping away from creation and turning to warning. So I think there's some interesting things to pay attention there. I think the bad apples are just as excited about AI as the creatives that want to use it for
Yeah.
good. So it's the
There's
same
always
story though.
some buzzword, right? I mean,
Yeah,
every
yeah,
year there is one or two, from
yeah.
zero trust to 0,000 trust to hackable, unhackable, and so forth. But I think more than any time in the past, even with AI, it's what I say all the time. We rediscover our weakness and our strength. We talk about
Yeah.
ethics more, and I'm okay with somebody coming up and say, look, I know this field well. We need to pay attention. But I don't think you can just go and say, it's all bad. I mean, obviously, it's what you do with it. And I think the lesson here comes down to humanity, to humans, the way we use it. And to go back to cybersecurity, the lesson is that we need to be paid attention to AI. This is what I grasped from many conversation in terms of being manipulated by AI. I mean, we manipulate ourselves. And so, guess what? Social engineering may be the biggest threat that comes with AI at this point.
Yeah.
So, even more human than before. It's a paradox if you think
Yeah,
about it,
we're
but
we're being too gullible and too trusting, as well. I don't know. I think one of the conversations we had before the conference was around identity, and I think the ability to prove and demonstrate that what something is and what it does and the content it creates is authentic and can be traced back to something or someone, it's going to be super important. I think I want to go to kind of this idea of trust and use of AI and not being afraid, because we had a chance to meet our friends in the aerospace village, part of the
Mm,
sandbox, and
yeah.
Steve Luzinski. You weren't there, but I got to meet Peter Cooper Coops
Oh, I was
for
there
the
too.
first time.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I met
I got to see
Ken
I
Monroe.
got yeah, Ken Monroe was there. So I got to meet Pete, because we only spoke to him on a podcast, never got a chance to connect with him, and got to see Steve and Otto. So I have a photo with 3 pilots:
I know. I saw it in the
Steve,
gallery.
Coops. I should say Spanky Coops and Otto, the 3 of them, and myself.
Spanky Coops and Otto,
Yeah,
and only one
that's
is inflatable.
that's right.
For
And it's
people
not
that
me.
don't know that, Otto is the autopilot in the movie Airplane back from the 80s.
Right.
So a lot of jokes
That's
coming up.
and that's the point I wanted to go to, because autopilot, right? I was talking to Steve and Coops about this, and clearly the airline and aerospace industry can do some pretty cool things with those planes, right? With technology, autonomous, automatic, right? AI, machine learning. There's a lot of stuff going on in those planes, and um, obviously the group at the aerospace village is all about understanding all the bits and parts and components and connections and communications and data, so they can help continue to secure those systems so they stay up in the air when they're supposed to be up there. Yeah, but it was cool to see all that, and the folks from Boeing and Pen Test Partners and CT Cubed and Integralus Systems, I think, were the other guys that were there doing little mini sats. Our buddy Hank had a mini cube sat from that is class at UC. Where was it? Cal Poly. Sorry, I was going to mess up the school.
Yeah,
Cal Poly built
Poly. He teaches there.
mini cube set. Yeah, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I like the sandbox and the aerospace village guys are pretty cool.
Yeah, and then there is other friends at the IoT village that they had something that made a lot of a big splash. I'm gonna say toilet there, and I think
That's
that what happened is there was about hacking toilet seats, but turned out to be a very popular photo
Yes.
location, and with some weird things
set up
coming
for
up.
photo opportunities. Yeah.
I mean, you're calling it. I'm sorry, but you're calling for that. But I think it came out pretty good and fun, and that remind me that in the corridors between sessions and running from one place to another, we ended up again running into a lot of people that we haven't seen in a long time. You know, Candy from SSA, for example, that was one that remind me. Her daughter actually took a really funny picture with the toilet that I'm not going to describe here, but really funny. And so a lot of innovation, sandbox, new companies coming up, villages being there. So RSA conference is not just the expo, as a lot of people think. It's a lot of talks, it's a lot of interesting keynotes, and I'm excited to. You know, I know it's kind of funny because the day after that it closed, they were already telling you that the date for next year, I think it's going to be in May. And so we're already all planning like, okay, what are we going to do? Because we are definitely going to be there. That's one of those events that we cannot miss. But I also want to take the opportunity here
too many
to
friends
tell
with
people.
The conference. Linda and Britta, Cecilia.
But this is on this side of the Atlantic Ocean, and then we have the other side, which we are excited. I am excited. Yeah, even if you're in Ireland, I think it's going to be a longer drive. I don't know. I didn't put the miles or the kilometers there, but yeah, InfoSecurity London, InfoSecurity Europe. It's coming up at the end of June, and we are media partner. It was a great time when we were there pre-pandemic, and the plan is to be there to do a coverage, to talk to keynotes, chats on the road or on the flight, on the plane. and be there. And we will have a dedicated page real soon. We're working on it. So it's kind of like, as we're still pushing content from RSA conference, we're also starting to plan conversations on the other side of
Exactly.
the ocean, and that I'm really
Boy,
excited.
all the names and faces I'm thinking about. Where we met Ian
No.
Tabor, right? The
Yep.
car hacker Ian Tabor. We met there. Of course, Jenny Radcliffe, social
A bunch of friends over there.
and Miko Hypen, yeah, and all the crew from Ireland.
Yeah.
Good times, good times,
Yeah.
and
Probably some of my Italian friends and
yeah,
French friends that they'll
that's
be
right.
there as well. So
Yeah,
I'm
from
excited about that.
my days working for
Um,
French companies. Woo-hoo. But
Good
yeah, on the
wine.
serious note, there's same type of thing, right? Keynote speakers we're going to chat with, session leaders, panelists from the event. We'll line up some briefings as well to capture the latest and greatest in technology and innovations to help us raise the bar on security for companies, right? That's the whole
It'd be
point of
cool
all
to
this.
see that, how we compare.
Yeah,
Is Europe thinking the same way? We always talk about difference in the
right.
way as a European and American. I can kind of say that, and you spend sometimes there. Many conversation are different concepts and value maybe for privacy, maybe a different view on identities, maybe a little
Mm,
bit more oversight compared with a more free capitalist industry over here, which obviously drive different things. So I'll be happy to look at this from a societal perspective and how cybersecurity is influenced by different way to run our society. So
yeah.
another good reason to be there. With this said, I think
Yeah.
we're going longer than I promised, 10 15
Yes.
minutes, but definitely necessary. I say let's do a quick round of at least the hosts that were there from ITSPmagazine with us, that they ran panels on the broadcast
Well,
alley, and they were
want to
all
do is
amazing.
first thank our sponsors
Nah, no,
for
we don't
for
need
ours.
to do
Right,
that.
never mind.
No,
No, I think well, I mean, the reality is
thank you. Not
they
worthy.
make it possible, right? They make it possible. So that's
Yeah.
Brinka, Sandbox AQ, and Black Cloak, of course. Good friends there. And yeah, so they made all of our 8 hours of coverage in the broadcast alley possible, and all the pre-event, post-event stuff we did possible. And I mean, without our hosts, we wouldn't have produced so much good content in the broadcast alley. So Alyssa, Chloe, MK, Kayla, and Taylor, um, Philip, and Ben all had their own shows in the broadcast alley with some pretty incredible guests joining them for some pretty specific and relevant topics. So really
And all
cool stuff.
different conversations. It
Very
wasn't a
different.
very repetitive one. It wasn't about, with all the due respect to all the people there to present their product, our conversation were not
No.
vendor driven. They were actually mostly community driven as
Mhm.
usual, and also tech. That a lot of technicality discussed in there,
Yeah.
and
Leadership,
content
workforce
creative.
development, creativity, content creation to ESG, and I mean, yeah, we all over the place.
Hmm.
Really cool stuff.
Very,
Really good
very cool
stuff.
stuff.
Proud of all of them, and thankful for all of them.
Hmm. Yep. So with that said, I think if you guys want to see everybody out there that you were not at an RSA conference from all over the world, one of the reasons why we do this is, yes, we have a good time. Yes, is our job, but also we have a mission to allow people to be part of the conversation when they cannot fly and be in San Francisco or in London or in Singapore or wherever we are allowed to actually go with what we do. And I think we're blessed to do what we do, and the fact that we like to do it quite a bit. and so everybody else can learn, get inspired, maybe get into the business as well. Because one of the things we talk about is the fact that you don't need to be anywhere. Remote workforce being one of the many, the topic that come up many times. So with that said, I think it's time to stay tuned.
This is like we say 10 minutes, 15 minutes, which is my 8-hour drive up, and it turns out we just did a 12-hour drive back in this one. So.
But it's so much going on, and I mean, if people are bored, they can drop earlier. That's not a problem. I'm not going to be offended by that.
I'm going to drop early.
All right, you go. I'll keep talking, or No, seriously, very honored to be there, to being there, to all the people to stop and and say hi, and some actually even congratulate with the content we create and how much they enjoy listening and watching. I don't know about watching, but listening for sure. So it's all beautiful. It's all great. I'm very, very grateful for all of this.
And a quick shout out to the entire crew at RSA conference.
Oh God, yes.
Help pull all of us together, including the crew that basically controlled Broadcast Alley and made it run so smoothly, and gave us good content there. So,
all
right, let's wrap this. Thanks everybody for listening. Stay tuned. We'll be back again next week with more stuff, and stay tuned. We're this close to launching our InfoSecurity Europe page, so stay tuned for that, and you can follow along.
Subscribe, follow, stay with us. See ya. Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed this conversation. If you learned something new and this story made you think, then share ITSPmagazine with your friends, family, and colleagues. If you represent a company and wish to associate your brand with our conversations, sponsor one or more of our columns. We hope you will come back for more stories and follow us on our journey. You can always find us at the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society.